Welcome everyone, my name is Joe Young and this is our second installment of The Living Room. Thanks so much for your feedback and your participation. We're really stoked to be doing this. I'm really pumped to be able to record and share with you guys my own inner journey, my own thoughts, my own prayers. And so yeah, I really hope you enjoy this, and please give us your feedback as we're just getting off the ground. I'd like to do another message today on the topic of gratitude. You know, last week I really hope that you could take away some good stuff about how to garner more gratitude in your life. We talked a little bit about how it's not really sufficient to say, hey, just simply have more gratitude. Have an attitude of gratitude. Go ahead. It's just not doing it. It didn't do it for me to think about it that way. Instead, think about your purpose, your ability to serve in whatever situation you're in. You might think the situation you're in is not what you wanted or not what you had hoped, but that situation might be the opportunity to serve in a new way you never thought. And so today I'd like to talk about another way that I think we can all garner a little more gratitude into our life. And that is simply to just learn more about life, to learn more about what's going on behind the scenes in our lives, to learn more about any particular topic. And you know, a good example of this would be something like bird watching. I've never done bird watching. I don't know how to get into that kind of field, but I imagine that if I was walking down my neighborhood and I saw a little bird with a speck of yellow or red on their beak or head or something, I might look at it for 2-3 seconds and say, oh, interesting bird. I know that my daughter would love that bird. She loves little animals and will chase them around. But if I spent 10 years, 20 years studying exotic birds, I think I might be able to pick out, no, wait, guys. This bird is really special. This bird is usually seen in places like Africa, or this bird flew in from the North Pole, or something like that. And I would probably take pictures of it, and it might even make my day. I know people like this. I have a friend who, we were driving down the road, I was visiting Costa Rica, he literally pulled the van over to look at a flower on the side of a road. And we were all sitting in the van sweating. What is he doing? He loves plants, and he saw a special flower on the road and he was so grateful. It made his day. But it takes time and energy to study something and get the nuances of it to start garnering more appreciation. And I went down this sort of train of thought because I was listening to one of my favorite audiobooks, and there was a commenter below the audiobook, and he said, I'm just so grateful to be able to appreciate this kind of writing. And it really took me back. I paused there. I thought, he's not just saying I'm grateful for Cormac McCarthy's writing. I'm grateful that I can even appreciate it. And that's something I've overlooked. I really was blown away. I have the facility, the mental space, the time, the energy, the opportunity to even appreciate things like a live concert or my favorite novel, or let's say you go to the theater and watch a Shakespeare play. I mean, how many people in this world came and went and didn't even have that chance? But we do. A lot of us do, and we don't appreciate that. So, wow, zooming that lens out, taking a bigger view, seeing the journey of something, and how long and how much effort it took for it to get there to your eyes, to your life, is really special. And it reminds me of this, one of my songwriter guys that I follow, Ray Hughes. He plays this acoustic guitar, and he tells stories while he plays his guitar. It's kind of funny. It's like kind of magical. And he's telling the story of his guitar that has Brazilian rosewood, but not just any Brazilian rosewood. It came from a shipwreck Brazilian rosewood that he found that a guitar luthier found in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So the story is interesting. There was a boat going to Spain 500 years ago, full of wood that was destined to be furniture for the king, like fanciest, most high-end furniture for some king 500 years ago. And sadly, the boat got wrecked in a storm, sank to the bottom of the ocean, and then we just recently discovered it, I think not long ago. And they pulled the wood out of the ocean, dried it up, and it turned out it's great for making guitars. Of course, that makes me geek out. My wife was making fun of me because I watched this video like several times. I was just like so geeking out of like, oh my God, I really want a shipwrecked Brazilian guitar one day. And my wife was making fun of me like, this is the weirdest thing you could be watching. But I really appreciate woods on guitars. I love it. I mean, I spent most of my life playing guitars and feeling the differences in the wood. So I was just totally geeking out on, oh my gosh, this piece of wood has such a journey to get to me. And it was kind of blowing me away. And it's kind of reminiscent of that moment, and I think it's my favorite moment. My wife and I have talked about this movie, The Lord of the Rings, this moment that we both love, where after the heroes have saved the day, you know, they've gone through 3 movies, epic journey, amazing, beat all the odds. They get back to their village, their hometown. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie and remember the scene. They get back to the village and they're sitting at this table in the middle of a pub, you know, and people are like filling their glasses of millet and beer and laughing and whatever. And the heroes, the 3 or 4 of them, are just sitting at a table in the corner of this place, looking around, realizing that no one realizes they just saved the world. They're just laughing and having a good time, and I guess that's great. That's why we did it. We went through this journey so that they could enjoy the good times and that we could keep life going. But it made me think about us. You know, most of us were just dropped into our lives. We were born and we're figuring out life, and at some point, for the most part, we're thinking, let's enjoy the good times, right? Let's get that career you want to get, you know, try to marry somebody that fills you with happiness, and go along and build your life and enjoy it and pursue happiness. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in the room with us, right there all along in that corner, is God. God's sitting in that room with us, and his journey has been incredibly long, incredibly arduous, and full of joy and sorrow. And I thought, you know, now is that time in human history where we have the ability to appreciate and understand what God's been going through. That's a very incredible time. That's this time that we live in right now. That we can understand the backstory, not just this moment and enjoy the good times, but we can understand the journey that human history has gone through to get to this place, to get to your life. What did it take for our ancestors? How many love stories, how many stories of hope, how many glorious failures, how much risk did our bloodlines and our ancestors have to take to get us to this moment? Is pretty mind-blowing to think about. You know, and even all the way back to the beginning, God giving us free will, but not just because he likes testing us. He gave us that free will so that he would one day experience true love. Can't have true love without free will. And that we took that free will and went astray. And that, you know, as it says in Genesis 6:6, he's been grieving. He was grieving that he even made us. Because he thought, I made them free will so that they could love me back, but they don't love me back. They chose another thing, another path. But like a true and unbelievable God and heavenly parent, he never gives up. He just keeps on looking for us, keeps on trying, keeps on looking. Just like Jesus says in the parable of the sheep, the lost sheep. We're that lost sheep. So this is the time to understand it. You know, it's kind of like an analogy that came to my mind is like, it's kind of a hip thing to do in movie making to drop you into a scene in a movie, right? The first scene is like, what's going on? Usually these movies start with like an explosion, right? They start with an explosion, something crazy is going on. And it's just like that, you know? We're dropped into this life and there's stuff happening. We don't make sense of it. We're dropped in midway. What I am so grateful that I am able to appreciate is that through teachings of the Bible and the divine principle, you get to glimpse the larger story of this movie. You get to see, oh, that's what's going on. Wait a second, we're in one of the final scenes. Oh, wait a second, I'm one of the leading characters. That's what's revealed at this time. And that God needs you. God actually needs you, not from this type of place of like a little baby, that God is so dependent. No, he's not. But God needs you to fulfill the second half of this dream, this will, this story he's trying to create with us. That's the epic thing about studying about the spiritual history of humankind. It's not just so you can get in a front ticket of heaven. It's not about that. It's so that we can really see the full story. So we're at a special time in history, brothers and sisters. This is a crossroads. Behind us is just a big mess, a big pile of confusion. The ruins of history, full of tragedy, sorrow, pain. Ahead of us, there's these two roads. And one of those roads is a road of restoration. One of those roads is a road of people that say, I don't care if I come from a history of pain or dysfunction or problems, I'm going to take up some portion or some place in this history and make it better. I'm going to choose to create something better for my kids, for the future. So we're at this crossroads, and you have to kind of wonder, why were you born at this time? You know, you could have been born another time, some other place, some other time. You could have been born in a time when your 80 years on earth was nothing but just farming, right? You lived to farm, and you fed the village for 90 years, and that's it. Why were you born at this time, when there's all this incredible technology, when there's all this incredible confusion in the world? Why are you here? That's something I ask myself. But I think I have an answer for you. I know why you're here. I'd like to suggest the answer to you. And that's because there's greatness inside of you. There's a greatness, there's a potential. You're here for a reason. You're here because there's this supernatural and divine and unlimited potential that you have to touch the heart of the people around you. Greatness doesn't always mean make $1 million. Greatness doesn't always mean win an Olympic championship. The greatness in you is the greatness of the human spirit. The greatness to heal the people around you with the touch of true love. The greatness to choose to better oneself. The greatness to, quell and push away the numbness and this resentment and this confusion and pain in this world. You can start pushing it back by being a light. You can be a light at the crossroads of history. That's what I believe you are. Where there's been all this division and all this segregation, pain, discrimination, you can be the agent of the unity, the agent of the reconciliation. That's what I believe our role is. And so I believe in you. I just want to let you know that. So in sum, when we learn about English literature, we can appreciate Shakespeare or Cormac McCarthy, if you want to know who my favorite author is. When we learn about birds, we could appreciate that weird little bird, or when we learn about flowers, we can stop on the side of the road and appreciate a flower. When we learn about life, we can appreciate our life. When we learn about where we come from, what it took to get here, when we learn about what God intended for us at the beginning of life, we'll really start to appreciate life. I guarantee it. You start looking into that. We can be really grateful for life. I can't believe I've been born at this time. I can't believe my grandparents, my great-grandparents, believed in me enough to go through all the stuff they went through to get to here. So I want to encourage you as a final note, you can learn about life from just simple practice, simple exercises of reading more of God's Word, from experiencing true love in your life. You know, I like to journal. I like to journal about experiences that are happening to me. You can learn from the true love being expressed in your life. You can learn from your mentors, your friends, and you can learn from just prayer. You can learn and gain insight, encouragement, and wisdom from prayer. So thank you so much, brothers and sisters. Go out there, learn deeper levels about what it is to be alive, what it is to be a person of true love, and we'll see you next time. God bless.